The time is now to architect a life of excellence. What will we do? Who will we become? We decide today. This is Learn, Do, Become Radio with April and Eric Perry. Let's move onward and upward together.
Hello and welcome to Learn, Do, Become Radio. I'm April Perry, and today we're talking about how to become replenished. This is the second podcast in our Arise series, and my goal is that you will feel rested and recharged and ultimately ready to do the work that you are uniquely meant to do because you'll have the energy to do so. Now, the main problem is that most of the world is tired. Typically, we don't get enough sleep, we don't take enough vacations, we push ourselves because there's a lot to do and we often feel overwhelmed in doing it. But I'm excited today to share some ideas from books and mentors and from my own personal experiences that I hope will help you. I want to talk a little bit more about Arise for just a moment. This is a membership that Eric and I are planning to launch soon, but we decided to put a pin in it and hold off for just a little while, and I want to explain why. Now, I've been brainstorming and planning Arise for years, and I'm really excited. But it really works best after building a full STEP command central. STEP is our Steps to Everyday Productivity program. And as we started talking with our community members about Arise, we found that the ones who were ready for it were the ones who already had their command centrals in place. But those who were still feeling overwhelmed or hadn't yet built their command central were thinking, I'm not ready to go to the next level yet. So I've been thinking really deeply about the goals that I want to move forward this year. And one of the main ones is to help create 25,000 command centrals around the globe. Now, this can be command centrals built by people who are currently in our STEP community. It can also be built by people who are just in our general Learn, Do, Become community, and we'll have some videos and podcasts and resources on exactly how to do that. Or it might be people who decide to come into the STEP program. We're just completing our revamp, so we have a brand new member login all ready to go. It's seriously beautiful and effective, and I cannot wait to launch that. So that's coming shortly. If you don't have a command central yet, come to learndobecome.com/step, and you can learn a little bit more about that. Okay, another thing on Arise though. I've been reading the book Essentialism, again, by Greg McKeown. It's one of my favorite books. And one of the things I've learned is that I often try to do too many things at the same time. Even though it doesn't feel overwhelming because I'm good at managing projects, I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed as I started moving forward on this vision of 25,000 command centrals, but then I was also trying to help build the membership and all the details of the Arise program. And it does feel exciting to work on multiple projects that feel great to you. But most of the time, if you try to do too many big things at the same time, nothing really gets done well. So as Eric and I have talked, we've decided to incorporate a lot of the principles of Arise into our podcast and our posts and the work we're going to be doing as we move forward on these 25,000 command centrals. Okay, so if you want to learn more, go to our Facebook page. I just did a Facebook Live about the 25,000 command centrals. You just go to facebook.com/learn-do-become. You'll find that there, and you can see why we're so passionate about this. But then make sure that you're on our email list, and then we'll keep you up to date on Arise. Okay, let's jump in to talk about how to replenish. I've actually outlined this podcast 3 different times, but I decided finally I'm just going to put it into physical, spiritual, emotional, mental, and social replenishment because we need all of those facets replenished on a regular basis. Eric and I sat down to record this podcast about 3 weeks ago, but I had just developed an illness that took me 2.5 weeks to recover from. I spent about 2.5 weeks in bed because I was up every couple hours during the night, and then I was really not doing well during the day, and I was trying to catch up on sleep because I wasn't sleeping at night, and it just wasn't going well for a few weeks, which is why it's been a while since our last podcast. But as Eric and I sat down to record, I'd been up multiple times that night, had a long morning, and I opened my computer and we started going through this replenishment podcast. And I just shut the computer and I said, I can't even record. I'm not replenished. I'm so tired. So it took me a while to get to the point where I felt like I actually could record this and talk about replenishment and really be authentic about it. Because really, Eric and I, we want to be able to build this community based on authenticity, and we want to be examples of what we are helping you to do. Now, while we're not perfect, and it's totally okay, I think, if all of us are moving forward. Anyway, it took me a while to get to the point that I even could record this. So now I'm back. I have learned a lot over the past few weeks, and I want to share some of the resources that have been helpful to me. Let's start with physical replenishment. Have you ever tried to keep going when you're sick or suffering? It can work for a while because often you just think, I can't stop. I can't take off work. I can't just not raise my children or not take care of all the responsibilities that are on my plate. But eventually, when we keep going, even though we're sick or exhausted or overwhelmed, we're going to reach burnout. And the goal is that we don't reach that point. As a Learn, Do, Become community, we want to help one another to replenish along the way so we never get to the point that we feel that burnout. So for now, I just have a couple of recommendations, and these are based around sleep. While we can feel replenished through exercise, like I've been doing Pilates every day and some HIIT workouts, which is so fun, and nutrition, which is awesome. I don't know if you like green smoothies, but Kelly LeVeque's green smoothies that she talks about in the book Body Love are awesome. Eric won't touch them, but I love it. I have my smoothie every morning. It's so great. Okay, but today we're going to talk about sleep and rest. Now, if you are a parent, I actually have a post called Mommy's Quiet Time 101 that I posted at Power of Moms. We actually talked about how I've been able to take a nap just about every day since I was 17 years old. I'm a big proponent of a daily quiet time. And whether you're taking a nap because you need to catch up on sleep, or whether you're just having some time to just sit and have quiet and time to process, I honestly believe taking that daily nap or quiet time is going to change your life. My children and Eric were joking the other day. They said, we want to come up with a book for you. We want to write a book about you called Just Waiting for My Next Nap. I wrote a book about my mom called Thursdays with Zoe, which is chronicling how much I love her as she was going through the last stages of Alzheimer's. So my kids said, if we write a book about you, it will be called Just Waiting for My Next Nap. But really, when you learn how to logistically take time during the day to rest, it is possible, even if you are working full time or you are working from home or you have children or you're going to school. I've done it in the midst of all of those things, even when we were just starting a business or our family is going through some stress or health problems or things like that. So you can check out that post and we'll link to it in the show notes associated with this podcast. Okay, then I have an awesome book recommendation about sleep. And I actually haven't read the whole book yet, but even just going onto Amazon and clicking the look inside, you can get enough out of that to get totally convinced that this guy knows what he's talking about. This is on my to-read list. But it's called Why We Sleep, Unlocking the Power of Sleep and Dreams by Matthew Walker. One of the things that I loved about even just the introduction explaining why he wrote this book, and I think they had most of chapter 1 in there, is he started doing research because he teaches at Berkeley and he'd done some research on sleep. And if there's anything involving the human body that doesn't improve with good sleep, and they actually found that they couldn't find anything, any function, whether it's brain function or the function of your internal organs or your stress level, there wasn't anything that didn't improve when we get enough sleep. So if that's not evidence enough that we need to prioritize our sleep, holy cow, I don't know what is. But I also want to emphasize that sleep is not the same thing as escaping into your phone. Like if you're going to go to bed and you decide to spend time on social media or watching, Netflix or something like that on your phone. I mean, I love having time to unwind at the end of the day, but we need to be careful we don't count that downtime as sleep. There's a huge difference. So I'll include a link to his book on Amazon, but awesome from what I can see so far. He also has some great videos online. So if you need convincing to sleep, go find that book. Or you can just go schedule it and get to sleep early tonight, and let's start making that a priority. I've actually made it a priority to be like asleep by 10 o'clock every night, and that's been a huge game changer for me. All right, let's move now into spiritual replenishment. One of the things that I've been doing lately, well, two things. One is spending more time with God. I found that when I limit my time with God, or I just have a couple of minutes for prayer or reading or that type of thing, that I end up feeling rushed or overwhelmed. And I think that I am fully responsible for the outcomes that I'm working towards. I find when I shift up my schedule and I prioritize more time thinking and praying and reading and studying and journaling, that then I don't feel rushed and I feel empowered and I feel supported. So however you define your higher power, I do encourage you to slow down as much as possible and prioritize that time asking questions, writing down the answers that you hear coming to your heart, and recognizing that there is help available to you every day in the work that you're doing. I'm also reading The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and I can't remember where I heard about this book, but since I started reading it, I found a copy at an old bookstore, like a thrift store here in our city, and I got the audiobook on audiobooks.com. So I'm kind of listening to it and reading it. So I'm about halfway through reading it, but I listened to it like 4 times because I spent so many weeks in bed. I just listened to this like multiple times while I was resting. Also, Oprah Winfrey has a Super Soul, like I need to say her last name. She has a Super Soul podcast series where his new book called A New Earth, he's going through chapter by chapter with her. Those have been really good too. Now, I have some different opinions on some of the things that he talks about in the book, but I feel like overall there is enough overlap that it is fantastic and really helpful. And one of the things that I've learned is that anxiety is caused when I think that the future is going to bring happiness, fulfillment, success, etc. And those things are actually available by being present and realizing that our value isn't based on what we accomplish. So there's a huge power in disassociating our worth as people with how much we do. For example, I'm very excited about 25,000 Command Centrals this year. But I'm recognizing that getting to that point and seeing 25,000 Command Centrals built, that's not what's going to give me happiness and fulfillment. I can have happiness and fulfillment right now by being fully present with the work that I'm doing, by feeling so excited even that I get to record this podcast and that my experience and the things that I've learned could perhaps be helpful to the thousands of people who are on the other end. I so wish that I could see you right now because I get a lot of emails and see comments and I can see the numbers on the computer knowing people are listening. But I just hope that you know how much I think about you and how much I care about you. And it honestly brings me happiness just knowing that perhaps I could be helpful. Okay, so those are the 2 things. If you haven't read The Power of Now, I do recommend it, or go listen to Oprah's podcast, the Super Soul series. Okay, let's now move into emotional replenishment. I'm reading a book called Scream-Free Parenting, which is awesome. If you have kids, you will want to put this on your list of books to read. And I know I'm just giving you a lot of books to read, but you can put them on your list. You don't have to read them all right now, and I'll give you some of the best takeaways. But here's something that I learned from that book. He said, the fewer intentional retreats we take, the more unintentional escapes we will make. Now think about that for a minute. I'll repeat that. The fewer intentional retreats we take, the more unintentional escapes we will make. Now, what do those unintentional escapes look like? I don't know. For me, it might be telling my family, just leave me alone and kind of getting frustrated with them. It might be escaping into my phone. It might mean emotionally just withdrawing from my loved ones or my friends because I feel so depleted that I feel like I have nothing left to give. So, what I've been doing in order to take more intentional retreats is making my April days as consistent as I can. Now, it's not like a whole day off, but it's a few hours where I leave the house, I go to the library. I actually have a whole podcast outlining how I do it. If you go to episode 32 of Learn to Become Radio. And whether you have, multiple jobs and you can't get away maybe, weekly for a few hours, even every other week or once a month, having some time scheduled where it's your intentional retreat, that's huge. Greg McEwen in his book, Essentialism, and also Michael Hyatt in his book, Living Forward, talk about these quarterly offsites and taking time each quarter to perhaps even go away for a full day. If you could go to a hotel for a night in your local area, Priceline often has some really good deals. You can just go away and have time to think. But whatever your budget or your circumstances, I really encourage you to think creatively about taking intentional retreats. And that might even be in your own house. When Eric and I had 4 young children, and I really wanted to start writing. This was back, 2004 maybe. And I thought, I just want time to write and to think and be a person because I have all these children and my life is crazy and everyone needs me all the time. So we set up Wednesday nights as my writing night. And I would go in around 6 o'clock right after dinner, and Eric did the bedtime stuff with the children. And I would just write and think. And it was my little retreat in my bedroom because we didn't have money to go anywhere. And I felt like I needed to be at home in case Eric needed help with the kids or something. Oh, no, that was 3 kids. Sorry, we didn't have our 4th until 2007. So yes, 3 kids. But any way you can take an intentional retreat, that's a big deal. And I really genuinely encourage you to do that. Another thing that I just wanted to mention is that we often feel fear that if we make a change, if we take retreats, that somehow we won't be successful, we won't be able to keep this madness going that we're in the middle of, and that somehow we'll let people down or we'll fail. So we just push and push and push ourselves. But I just want to share an experience that we had a few months ago, actually maybe it was like a year ago, where I had a little wake-up call. I had been pushing myself a lot in our business and in our family, and I was feeling really emotional and really depleted and really inadequate in a lot of ways. And there was one night where I didn't sleep very much, and then Eric and I had a conversation early that morning, and I had these ideas, and I shared them with him, and he wasn't quite as excited about the ideas as I had wanted him to be. And all the stress and exhaustion and everything just kind of boiled up to the top, and I had a little meltdown in the morning. So I was crying hard, and I was really upset, and I was scared because I just thought, how do I keep going when I'm like this? So there was a lot of crying that morning. I couldn't even talk. I was just so upset. I don't know if you've been there, but I was there. And our high schoolers had already gone to school, but we had our 10-year-old son, then 10-year-old Spencer, who was out in the living room, and he's kind of getting ready for school and things like that. Now, I didn't even think about his perspective, and I didn't even think about what it would do to him to hear me in there crying. But he ended up quietly slipping out the door to walk to school, and he left a little note. Now, Eric took the note and put it somewhere because he thought it would make me sad for me to keep it around, but I did get a chance to read it before it disappeared but I'm remembering, so this might not be exactly what it said. It's basically what it said. It said, "Dear Mom and Dad, I went to school early because I didn't want to hear my mom cry. Can you please sort things out while I'm at school? Love, Spencer. P.S. Please pray for me on my math test today." Now, this is written in our little 10-year-old son's handwriting on this little Post-it, and It's really humbling and kind of hurt my heart to see this, thinking he's got a math test on his mind. He's 10. And when he's seeing his mom kind of losing it, what did that do to him, And he handled it so well. I mean, it was such a sweet note. Can you please sort things out while I'm at school? So we did. We sorted things out. We were able to talk to him, and I've had fewer meltdowns since then. I wish I could say that was the last one, but I don't think they've been that bad. That was probably the worst one I've had in over a year. But I've learned that it's not okay for me to keep going and for me to think that I'm doing anyone a service by totally depleting myself. And I want you to ask yourself that question. If there's a way that you are, unintentionally escaping, or if there's something going on in your life where things just aren't right, I just want to encourage you to make that your priority. Also in that book, Scream-Free Parenting, he talks about the 4 levels of love. Now, I'd never heard this concept before, but ever since I've heard it, it's changed the way that I've prioritized my time. So here's the 4 levels of love. I'll list them and then I'll just explain them a little bit, and then you can get the book if you want to read more. Okay, level 1 is I love me for me. Level 2 is I love you for me. Level 3 is I love you for you. And level 4 is I love me for you. Now, level 4 is the highest level, which sounds kind of weird at first, but let me explain why. Okay, let's start back with level 1. I love me for me. That's just selfishness. I just take care of myself. I don't care about anyone else, and it's all about me. And clearly, we might have, times in our lives where we feel like that, but I think most of us know that's not the way we want to live. You want to have a happy family and good relationships. We don't want to just love ourselves for ourselves. Okay, but then level 2 is I love you for me. This is where we care about other people and we do things for other people. But it's not because we genuinely want them to succeed. It's because it's going to come back to us. Like, I'll be really nice to my children or my family members because then I expect that they're going to reciprocate that and that they're going to then love me back. Or I'll do something nice for a friend or neighbor, but only if they're going to do the same for me. And if you've ever been in a relationship like this, like someone who has a narcissistic personality, for example, you know what that's like, where you feel kind of manipulated or used. Like if someone wants to get ahead in business and so they come to you and they're really nice to you because they want you to then buy from them or vote for them or something like that. The I love you for me doesn't feel good to the person being loved, and it doesn't really create long-lasting relationships for the person who's giving out that love because it's conditional. Okay, third level is I love you for you. Now, initially, this sounds awesome. Like, I care about you so much just because I want you to succeed. And that sounds great, but in the book, he said, if you love your children this way, it's like saying, you are my world. You are my success. And it puts a lot of pressure on our children, for example, because it's like if they don't succeed, we have completely failed. So I love you for you. It's that we're giving and we're loving and we're putting so much out, but we are then basing our success on another person. So then the highest level of love, as defined in the book, that Scream-Free Parenting, says, I love me for you. This means I am going to fill my well. I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to be physically strong and emotionally healthy, and I'm going to take care of the things that I need so that I have the energy and the ability and the desire to take care of you and to be there for you. I'm going to love myself as an example, but not just for me. I'm doing it because ultimately I love you and I care about you. This has helped me to see that when I prioritize rest or some time to get away or some time to think, or when I'm making my green smoothies or when I'm making a healthy lunch or when I'm signing up for a conference or I'm reading a book, I'm taking care of myself so I can be a benefit for my family, for my community, for Learn to Become. If I'm not rested and if I'm not replenished, I'm really zero good to you. But if I can take care of myself, and then I can show you what I did in order to take care of myself, that puts you in a position that then you can, pattern the things that you desire, the things that I tell you that work. Perhaps you could try those things too, or it could spark ideas for you. And then you'll have the energy to fully live your mission. So I hope that that's helpful. One other point I just want to make about emotional replenishment is that we occasionally need to clean house. We need to look at who we're following on social media, the voices we're listening to, whether it's books or podcasts or the radio or something like that. We need to look at who's in our life, and we need to identify the ideas that we're welcoming into our lives that perhaps aren't helping us to develop in the way that we most want. Now, I've struggled with this so much in the past because I thought I should just listen to everyone and be friends with everyone and have everyone in my life. But I've found that that's not actually helpful. And it doesn't mean that the people we don't invite into our lives are bad. It just means that we are carefully making decisions that will allow those who have the most helpful voices, encouragement, personalities, resources to come into our minds and hearts so that we can move forward with them. There's a book called Necessary Endings by Henry Cloud. Really, really good. I listened to the audiobook on that one. He describes our lives, or your life, as a rose bush. And he said, if you want a rose bush to really flourish and to create the most beautiful roses, it has to be trimmed. It has to be pruned. And our lives are like that. We can't just be all unwieldy and just grow in all different directions, because ultimately we're not going to have the most beautiful flowers if we do that. But just like a rose bush is trimmed, where you trim things that are dead or you trim things that are taking energy in directions where they shouldn't, you're going to end up with a beautiful life. So as you look at your life, look at your family, your relationships, look at the choices that you're making, the TV shows you're watching, that type of thing, trim everything that's not taking you where you know you want to go or where you're meant to go. That will help you feel so replenished, because then you can be an essentialist and you can focus on those resources that really are going to support you the most. Okay, let's move into mental replenishment. This is where my goal of 25,000 command centrals comes into play. Because when you have clear space, whether it's on your desk or with all your paper files or your emails or the different rooms in your home, you're going to feel better. David Allen, who's the author of the book, Getting Things Done, said that you don't need goals. He was talking about the beginning of the year. He's like, you don't really need goals. Just create space and then the creativity will flow. And this has totally been true for me. As I was feeling quite depleted earlier this month, right before I got sick, I actually started researching online. How do you avoid burnout? I was just kind of wondering what other people had to say. And I found really good advice, like, get a massage or simplify your lists, take a nap, things like that were good. But then here's what I did with my command central. I went into my office and I cleaned out the office and all the papers, got everything processed. I cleaned out my current project support cubbies. I cleared out the boxes that were in my closet. I went through all my desk drawers. Then I opened up my digital project manager, which I use Asana. It's Asana. And I took most of the projects that were on my list and I totally cleared them out. And I put them into like a someday away later list that's in my Evernote. So I cleared Asana. So I just had a few projects, maybe 10 to look at. And those I organized by current and then in progress or waiting projects, and then next in line, and then someday. I have a whole podcast on Asana projects if you want to listen to that. We'll link to that in the show notes as well. Then I cleared my computer files. I got my desktop totally cleared off. I backed up all my files on our external hard drives, just cleared the digital clutter. So my computer was just clean and had like nothing on it. I don't keep anything on my computer just in case it crashes or something like that. We have it all backed up. Then I canceled pretty much every extra activity. I looked at my calendar and I just said, I'm just going to cancel pretty much everything because I'm getting close to burnout. So then my calendar was basically empty. Then there were a few pending invitations in my inbox, and I said no to all of them. It's like 5 or 6 invitations. Not that I didn't want to do them, but I realized my sanity was going to go away if I said yes. Then I did a really big thing, aligning my Power of Moms website and my Learn to Become website work more closely because I've been feeling split in two for more than 3 years, probably almost 4 years, building Learn to Become and sustaining Power of Moms and running 2 platforms with 2 email lists and 2 different teams and 2 different social media accounts and all of that. It was just a lot of work. I was doing 2 podcasts, 2 websites, but I loved both and I thought, I don't even know what to do. So what I decided was to empower our volunteer team at Power of Moms to take over more as voice and in the content creation and in the newsletter and all of that. So I'm still overseeing it, but instead of me spending hours each week on it, I'm spending a few minutes each week and the team is spending time on it. So if you're a mother or you have a mother, go to powerofmoms.com. Go check out what the team is doing over there. But I realized mothers can be there to empower each other with the platforms there. I don't have to be the only person like giving out wisdom and ideas like this, thinking that I am that important. It's pretty amazing to see that the mothers on that amazing website, they are a force to be reckoned with and they are strengthening each other. So now I can fully focus on our 25,000 command centrals and my Learn to Become work without feeling so split in two. And also with Arise, like we talked about, this podcast is part of our Rise series. We were originally going to be launching it like next week. But as we said, hey, we're going to hold off on that, I moved that into my someday project list and decided to focus on these 25,000 command centrals. I mean, it took a lot emotionally to do that because I'm like, Eric, we've already announced it. I'm so excited and we're going to be building it. And won't people think I'm so dumb if I put it off? And we just realized it makes sense. So we're going to do that. So I'm still very excited about it, but I'm not putting the pressure to do that for myself. So essentially, if you can kind of visualize what I was doing, clearing my office, clearing my computer, clearing my commitments, clearing my calendar, and making my current projects really simple and focused. And we cleaned our whole house. We organized our pantry. I organized my closet. We organized the game cupboard. I mean, right now, our whole house is fully organized. Not perfect, but fully organized where I can find anything that I need whenever I need it. And I feel like I have my mind back. And that's what I want for you. Okay, let's move now to social replenishment. This is the last one we're going to cover today. We need other people in our lives. I know that it's easy, especially if you're an introvert, to go into your own house, your own life, your own phone, and not actually interact with others, particularly when you're having a problem. It's often hard for us to say, hey, I'm struggling. And we often don't know who to even talk to, who even cares, right? But we need people around us who we trust. Now, the way that Eric and I have done this, we have a few ways we've done it. One is we have friends in our neighborhood and, just who we can actually get together with in person. Like we did a date night the other night with another couple. It was so fun because as you're able to be together and build relationships with other people and start talking about what you're doing and what your challenges are and what you're working on and how you see things, you really realize you're not alone and that other people have a lot of the same challenges that you might have. In fact, we had a family over last night and our boys were fighting about something and the mom said, "Oh, it's sure nice to know that your boys fight too." Like, yeah, we're a normal family too. And you know what? Not that you want to air your dirty laundry, but it's really helpful when you know that no one else has a perfect life either. We're all learning. Another thing we've done is we've joined a mastermind. Well, I'm in one this year that I go to 3 times a year. And we have a Facebook group where I get to talk about business goals and ideas and things that I'm working towards. And then we created what Eric calls our mentor mind, where we have just a small group of people who have really similar businesses as we do. And we just got together last weekend. And what was awesome about that is we were able to go and share our ultimate goals and talk about what we're working towards. And there are some areas in our business where we just felt frustrated and kind of stuck. But as we spoke with people in our mentor mind, they're like, "Oh, hey, here's a contractor you could hire, or here's what you could do." And they gave us such good ideas that we both came home feeling really encouraged. And there was one of our members of the mastermind that I'm part of. And she said, I was part of a mastermind a couple years ago. And then I thought, oh, I can just do this by myself. I know what I need to do. And then she said, that was such a mistake. She's like, now I'm back because lone wolfing it is so 2018. That just made me smile. Now, whether you're part of a business mastermind or whether it's a book club or whether it's some kind of a lunch group or something like that, having a group of people that you trust. Now, you might need to create it. It might not naturally exist. But when you go through the effort to create that, you're going to notice that there actually are people around you who want that support, who you can support and who can support you as well. Okay, so there we go. We've gone through those 5 facets of replenishment. One more R, though, I want to talk about is the R of restarting. There's an awesome member of our STEP community. Her name is Chantilly. And I just want to read what she posted in our Facebook group for our STEP program. This is the program, member STEP, the one that we help people build command centrals. Okay, here's what she said. "Step win, step win, step win. You guys, I am done. For the first time ever in any online course I've ever signed up for, I finished every part of every module and I'm caught up on all the recent podcasts and everything. Holy cow. It took me about 1.5 years total, but I feel amazing. My house is amazing. My brain is clear. My piles are gone. I know where everything is, and I've finished more projects since January 1st this year than I did over all of last year. And thanks to STEP, I actually accomplished quite a bit last year. So that's really saying something." Okay, so first of all, I just have to pause because can you tell why I'm so excited about 25,000 command centrals? I mean, what she just shared, finishing a whole course, feeling amazing, getting everything in order, that's what I want for the whole world, but especially for the 25,000 people building command centrals this year. Okay, I'll continue with Chantilly's quote here. She said, "I'm celebrating and also reminding. It doesn't matter when you bought into STEP. It doesn't matter how long it takes you. It doesn't matter if you only do one 10-minute microburst every other month or once a year. Every step forward is progress. And even if you feel the need to start over from the beginning, over and over, anyone else? I think I restarted fresh 3 or 4 times. Each time you restart, you'll be faster. The process will sink into your brain more thoroughly, and eventually you'll wake up and realize that, hey, you finished. So don't give up. When you complete the course, the time and the clarity you'll have for new projects will truly be astounding. I still can't quite believe it. I'm so thankful to Eric and April Perry and STEP and all of you for the support and encouragement and celebrations all along." Then she continues. "Something I think Eric said way back in a video somewhere had to do with the FOCUS acronym. Follow one course until successful. That really stuck with me. I even have it on a sticky note on my computer screen. Even though I'd already committed to only working through STEP and no other courses at the same time, something I've been doing for years, trying to get through 3 or 4 at once and then quitting all of them out of overwhelm and frustration, that acronym cemented the idea for me and it really worked. Committing to going through the course step by step, one thing at a time, actually doing all the work instead of just reading, listening, and moving on. Wow. And now I've already selected the next course I'm going to go through from start to finish, and I can't wait to get started and finished again and again. Thank you, step. She's a little heart. Okay. I love that. And part of me has been a little worried about stepping into this goal of 25,000 command centrals and showing people, hey, you can actually build a system that will change your life. Because I've just felt kind of shy about it. Like, I'm not trying to get a lot of attention. And I don't know. I've just felt so worried about a lot of random things. But I've decided that the best way that I believe I can help the world is not only just being a voice for strengthening families and taking care of yourself and living your mission, but it's specifically showing you what to do with all the overwhelm. I feel like my mission is to help you not to feel overwhelmed so you can live your unique, specific purpose. That's why I'm so thrilled about it. Again, if you want to learn about our STEP program, you come to learndobecome.com/STEP. I hope that these ideas that I've shared today have been helpful. I mean, looking at the first 2 podcasts we've recorded in this 5-part series, A was for Anchor, R is for Replenish. We'll also do ISE, those are coming. But think about what would happen if all of us were anchored in our values and were totally replenished. What would feel possible? This is how I want to help change the world. I honestly believe that it's possible for each one of us, regardless of our unique circumstances, to be able to be grounded in our values, to take care of ourselves, and then move forward. So just a quick question and challenge to go with this podcast. The question is, where do you need to focus when it comes to replenishment? Thinking about the things we've discussed today, where is it that you need to focus? And I want you to come to our show notes page. You can find all episodes at learndobecome.com/radio. But come find this podcast episode, click on the comments, and just share. Where is it that you're going to make a commitment to replenish yourself? And then our challenge is to choose one thing, just one thing to start, that you're going to change in your regular habits that will help you to feel excited and replenished each day. I know you can do it. We're here to support you. We're so grateful you're here at Learn, Do, Become. Please make sure you've come to our website, learndobecome.com. Join our community there. You can also like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Learn, Do, Become. And my 16-year-old daughter is sitting down with me to help me do some Instagram. I haven't really been on there very much. And we have a meeting this week with a consultant to help us more with Instagram because I'm super excited about that. I feel like that's where the people are who need command centrals, as well as Pinterest. We're just excited. And a YouTube channel I'm excited to create. There's just lots of things I'm excited about, but one thing at a time, remember? Essentialism. But as I'm moving forward to more fully live my mission, I'm hopeful that you will be here alongside me pursuing yours. And that even though our work will be unique, that together the goal is the same. We're going to take care of ourselves so we can take care of others. There is a beautiful, beautiful life ahead for all of us. And there is help and support for each of us as we move forward. Have a wonderful day. Please come share any feedback or comments at learndobecome.com/radio. I'm telling you that one because I have no idea what episode this is right now. Otherwise, I'd give you the episode number. Just come to the website, find the episode, and leave a comment there. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day. We'll see you soon at learndobecome.com.